name's Yasmin Khan. I'm from the Queensland Eat Fest Association, which does the big festival after Ramadan for the Muslim community. Oh, well, for everybody actually. Everyone can do the Eat Fest.
Ali Ibrahim from Multicultural Development Association, originally from Eritrea. Have been here for about 16 years. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening everyone. My name is Justin from South Sudan. We've been here for 10 years nowadays. Time flees very quickly. And I currently work at the Community House as a program manager for community settlement service, which deals with people who have recently arrived in Australia and beginning a new life. So I think sessions like these are very important for the service that I do, because it educates people about management of their finances and other things. So I was to be here with a few other people, but of course people are very busy with their schedules, and I was told that they are not able to come, but I think I'll pursue them in the next few rounds of the workshops. So thank you.
Yeah, my name is Philip from Northside Original Community. I'm originally from South Sudan, and I have been here almost for 5.5 years. Yeah, good to see you.
My name is Okobo. I just come from Manual Community, the same as Philip says, and I've been here for 10 years. And I just come here to listen and find out what is really going on here.
Okay. My name is Marcel. I'm from Botswana and I'm a student at UNFU. I'm doing electrical engineering final year.
My name is Ebife Dambo. I've been in Australia for 20 years, and I'm actually here on behalf of my husband. My husband's father is a member of ASCOF, and he couldn't be here, so he asked me to represent him here. And besides, I think it's a very good topic, and I hope to pick up some skills, because the moment I'm setting some goals for myself, and we like to earn some money so I can achieve those goals.
Pacifica Kindi. Yes, I've been here also for 11 years now. I'm a member of ASCOF, and yeah, I've come here to learn and to see how I can help out my community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Last in the list is Sabab Kaitila from Tanzania. I've been here close to 30 years, and I think I'm a paid member for ASCOF. We'll check that later. I'm here to be trained in money management, but I think it will be very different, because if there's no income, money keeps coming out. The balance sheet will be very high. So I'm very keen to get something today.
Okay. I'm Jim, being Roman. I'm from Congo. I'm running a soccer club, and I'm also the vice president of the Congolese community in Queensland. So I'm here to learn as anyone else.
Thank you. You missed out, your face is not there, so you could
He's also the paparazzi for tonight. So once again, thank you very much, and I think that has given us an indication of who is present in this room. So when we start interacting and sharing what we have, I'm sure there's a wealth of knowledge. You know, when you've been here for 10, 15, 30 years, I'm sure there's a lot you can share with us. That those who have come late have been here for 9 years, so I think I'm among the youngest. However, we are here to learn from each other and interact. Please feel free at any time to pose a question or comment. because the purpose of this evening, is that we all are able to interact and share. A bit of history about or background about the project. A few years ago, we did a study with the African seniors on the needs of particularly the African community in Brisbane. And that study was financed by the Brisbane City Council. The then Lord Mayor, who is now the Premier, invited us for a cup of tea and asked, do you people have any issues? And we said, yes, we have quite a number of issues. So what are they? And then we said, well, it's very hard to express yourself just in one city, and therefore we provided the funding. And one of the key issues that will be identified in that study was financial education or financial prosperity is a key issue among our people. And that is how ASCOF was actually formed. I'm sure some of us are asking, what is ASCOF? It used to be the Africans Community Foundation, but we had to change the name because of circumstances in this country. I'll explain in a moment. The idea behind the formation of the organization was actually, can we get together, raise money, and then be able to lend each other? So we approached the authorities, state government, and we were informed that there is no legislation that can allow an organization to legally get registered and collect money amongst its members and deter anybody from withdrawing. So that defeats the purpose, because the idea was to use the cooperative concept, which most of us are used to, where you pull resources together, and then from time to time, when a member is in need, you can actually borrow from that people, and you are guaranteed by the other member. So when that was not possible, we then realized that we needed to do something that was actually constructive and benefit the community. So we applied to Good Shepherd Microfinance, and they accredited us to deliver the no interest loans or interest-free. And that's when we realized that because the program is national, then we cannot continue referring to ourselves as just Africans. We'd rather have a name that is all inclusive. Reason being, we've had people come from all cultural backgrounds to request for funding. So we've had indigenous Australians, we've had people from Asia, Pacific Islanders, name it, they all come and we provide that service. So that's how the name actually evolved. Over the years, in fact, when we were getting the registration of the accreditation, we were very pertinent about the fact that it's not just a question of money people are in need of. More importantly is knowledge, financial knowledge. How can we ensure that someone does not fall into a debt trap? You're in a new country, it's a new environment. We were not used to the kind of financial systems that are existing in this country. So how can we prepare our people such that they don't fall into the debt trap? And in actual fact, when we got the accreditation, one of the conditions before one gets the loan is that you go through a financial literacy course. But the accrediting organization did not have the funds to enable us to do that. That's how now we came back, approached the Brisbane City Council and said, look, here we are delivering this program to our members, but we feel they would be much better if we could at least ensure that they go through a financial literacy program. As you can imagine, it's not an easy thing, and therefore we put in an application for funding. That application was actually not back for 2 years, and it's only this year, early this year, that it became successful. And this is now where we are. Because we felt that it is important, when we are to deliver this program, financial literacy, we start with the leaders.
Just would sound preemptive, you get a continue.
You'll ask later.
Because I will preempt a few other things.
Okay.
So let's get on and I'll ask them.
Okay. No worries. So you have your facts, and I think Morel will take it from you.
Thanks.
I'm personally really passionate about financial literacy. Live in Tanzania and actually started a training program in Tanzania about this stuff. Because I realize people don't know the difference between business money and the income. They go to the market, sell, and they think, oh, that is their money. You spend it. Then tomorrow they don't have. And I kept sending money from here to there. They said, I want to start a business, I need capital. You send them $100, which is a lot of money back then. And then 2 months later, the business is gone. You wonder, what happened, you know? But the simple reason is because of lack of understanding about the principles of money. So I've been, even when we started ASCOF, this, to me, the key point was financial literacy. Financial literacy. Just understanding how money works, you know, how money works. Money can be, of itself, can do a lot of good stuff, but of itself can also get you into a lot of trouble, even mishandled. Okay. So today we're not really going to, it's basic. Today we're just going to do basic stuff, just as a starting block, you know, the foundation. From them, because financial literacy is a huge topic, you know, there's all kinds of stuff. But today we're not going to go into everything because it's not possible. However, this website here is a really, really good website with ASIC, okay? moneysmart.org.au. They've got all the resources, all the skill here. We're going to go through today. It's about money smart, and it's in different languages. So you can have here, believe me or not, Sudanese Arabic is in there. Swahili is in there. Kirundi is in there. It's translated. And it's all on that website. So I don't need to carry all this.
What about Amharic?
Market, I think it's there. It could be in there. Because there's all kinds, there's different languages. There's Arabic, Assyrian, Burmese, Chinhaka, whatever Tidari. So you look in there, and you can most probably find what you're looking for. But major languages, so we are not going to go into depth about money stuff, okay? Because this for you, we just want to show you where the resources are, what the best topics are. That way, and you can go then onto the website and access the full kit at your own time. Because you as trainers, we're going to be training people, so you need to know a little bit more than what we're going to cover here today. As you can see, that's very thin what you've got in front of you. So really just touches on that. To expand on it, there's a full kit on the website.
So before you go ahead,
yes.
You indicated that this is an introductory part of it.
Yes.
After finishing this course, yes, is there any second module that we can ask that this particular group?
Not really, because the funding really covers this basic. The funding covers these basics. So, but if the demand is there to go into the next level, then we can present it again to the government to ask for more funding to cover it. At the moment, they're basically just covering this, the basic, which is the following models.
Yeah.
Okay. These 4 models here. Okay. Because once you understand that, once you really have you got a hold of that, then basically your initial money values can be taken, you know, you can control the initial. Because once you come to here, then you're looking for, you know, things like investment and whatnot. But if you cannot manage these 3 things here, you cannot really take advantage of that properly. So that's why there's 4 modules, you know. Practice spending, compare money in, money out, prioritize where you spend your money, then have to make your money work for you. So those are the basics. So we're going to go through that and start with. So when you finish here and you want to organize a training within the community, you can just say, guys, this week, just want to focus on this. Anybody interested to do the homework is going to be over 4-week period. Okay? So first week they come and just do this module. The following week they come and do that module. The fourth week they come and do that module. And the fourth week they come and do that module. Over a period of a month you've covered that. And that shouldn't be very hard to organize. And believe me or not, once people get through that, the number of people will be going to cash converters will decline seriously. Because basically people go to cash converters because money in, money out. And money in out, more money goes out than more money coming in. And why? Because they really haven't tracked their spending. And I've been here 30 years, I know here it's very easy here. There's so much you can spend your money on, without knowing. Without knowing. Money comes in and before you know it, it's gone. It's a good thing now there's a few things that are being put in place like debits and things like that to take care of the main bills. So if we start with that, we go through the track your money, which is the first one. So the most important question is, where is my money going to day to day? Where is my money going to? Unless you know where your money is going to, you really have no hope of getting out of the race. Where is my money going? So the idea is to create a spending diary, to just at least, for, if you get paid weekly, or get paid fortnightly, or get paid monthly, to create a spending diary. Discipline yourself for a period of that 2 weeks to note everything you spend money on. And on the website there is actually a budget which is there which can help you to do that. But it's very simple. You can also just buy a 48 booklet, which is $1. Just draw lines there. Just note day one, how much will you spend? Coffee, $4. People don't think coffee is money spent. You don't spend coffee. Ice cream, fare, bus fare, whatever, newspaper, okay? Yeah. And you find that at the end of the day, without knowing it, you have spent $20, $30, $40, $50. And then when it comes to the big items at the end of the week, you find that you require more, $100. Actually, you are short, or maybe $40. And it's an important item. It's a bill. So what do you do? So the first thing in managing your money is to know where your money is going to. So that's what you will have in the community, get the people in the class, so actually get people to buy a diary so they can do this exercise. Track your money. And there's no such thing as, this is not a big idea, it's not a big thing. Just do it. Just find yourself, for that period of your pay, let's see where your money is going. And at this point, you're not trying to judge yourself. You just want to know. And if you do it over a period of 2 pay periods, you might find that there are some things that you actually do over and over. The same things, where you spend your money. Those are called habits. And they could be small things. For example, I got a habit of buying a beer with I got $10 in my pocket, I could buy a beer. And it was $10. I go buy a beer. and it doesn't make sense, but there's a habit. So, but if you do that over a period of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you find that you spend $50 a year there. Yeah?
If it's $10, that means
$20. Okay. You see? But so you just need to know. And then you eventually you come to, and module 4 is prioritize your spending. Once you know where you're doing it, then you can say, okay, listen, I need to cut down here, 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 and you prioritize your spending.
So what's the danger of this cutting down here, cutting down there? Once you start cutting now, like I take an example. been 30 years here, you've got kids,
Yeah.
you're going to get kids, you've got relatives,
Yeah.
their birthdays, their
Yeah.
weddings,
Yeah.
all these things. Can you
Yes.
cut them down?
Okay, basically there's two things you can do. Okay? There's two things you can do. You can expenses, income. Okay? If income is 400 and your expenses are 450, you have no choice but to cut down somewhere or go into debt. Okay? However, you've got another choice, which most people don't take. Increase your income. Increase your income, either to match that or to be more than that. Okay? And actually, money is about that. You really, when people say I'm financially free, what they mean is that my income is more than my expenses. It doesn't mean that you got $1 million. No. You know, when your income exceeds your expenses in any 1 week, you don't have money worries, which means you're financially free. So if your income is 400 and your expenses are 450, you're in debt. You're in serious trouble. You know?
But you need to reduce the expenses.
So that's why I say you can either reduce your expenses or increase your income.
But if the income is 400, you can't increase it because you don't know. You don't have any-
Well, you can. There are ways. Once you start thinking about it, you can do that. You can either get another job, you can go to the market, you can start doing part-time things, you can get your kids to go to work, whatever it is. But I think it's one of those two choices. Either you increase your income or you decrease your expenses.
The notion of increasing income is questionable.
Okay.
Economically, once you get into a certain level, you also raise your standard, and both spending and income they tend to keep checking each other. You don't do that.
Okay, fair enough.
So the best way is actually planning it. It's okay to plan and to know where you're going to spend.
Where you're prioritizing.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Once you get, even if your income is 300,000 a year, you're gonna live in a $500,000 house. Okay, your income, your rates go up, your whatever you go up.
Yeah.
So that's why I say the idea of financial freedom is really when your income exceeds your expenses, then you have financial freedom. Whatever your income level is. And if you're not like that, either they're balanced, it means your income goes out. Your income goes up, you are level. Or your income is less than your expenses, you go into debt. Okay? Or your income is more than your expenses, you got money to spend it. So again, it comes down to this, the first model, you track your spending. That's why it started that way. Unless you know where you're spending your money, you really can't know whether you got enough money coming in or going out. So that's why that model is the first one. And very few of us have the discipline to do that. Very few people have the discipline to do that for a fortnight or a month. But that's the first building block, starting your journey to financial freedom, or proper financial management. So, okay. So that's where I say, so please help to track, decide how long, 1 week. If you get paid weekly, then do it over a period of 1 week. If you get paid fortnightly, do it over a period of fortnight. Okay? So that's how. And there's also an app you can download on your iPhone. Track my spend. So if you every time you buy something, you just key it on your iPad, on your iPhone or whatever.
Or you can just keep the dockets, because I've tried that before. Like one day I just had to have takeaway and I went to KFC and I was just a bit embarrassed because I was the only one asking for a docket. And all I spent was $10, but I was tracking my spending.
Yeah, you were tracking your spending. And that's good.
So at the end of the week, I just took all my dockets, got my calculator, and just added it up.
But that's not really tracking your spending. But once you get your docket, go home and fill it so you know exactly where you spent it on that day. Because if you just add at the end of the week, then you just have a, you really didn't track it. You got a lump sum of what you spent. Because you just add up.
Well, I've got a docket for each day. I've got the dockets. Anyway, it's up to the individual.
Yeah. Okay, but as long as you know, on this day, this is what I spent on. This, so for example, in a month you spent KFC $10, and you go next day you went to Red Rooster, and the next day you went to McDonald's.
Another effective way would be to use a debit card, so that you can actually compare your spending with your statement now with the dockets. And now you'll be able to say, yes, that debit was for what? And that way now you'll be able at least to compare with your bank, where is your money going? But when you use cash, sometimes you just tend not to even care much about getting the docket back. But with a debit card, at least you know that is documented.
And we really want to know where our money is really going to, what are we spending on, because eventually you come in the third module when it comes to prioritize your spending. Then you have to, you have to see how you've been spending your money. Now, these things are very key because we want to come to what's called needs and wants. Okay, some things are basic needs; you cannot avoid them. You need to have them. I mean, you need to have food, you need to have electricity, you need to have transport. But there are something which I want. So when you track your money, you can actually see, was this thing really necessary for me to get it that day? Or was it just something that I wanted to spoil myself? Which is okay. Nobody says it's wrong to spoil yourself. But we just need to know exactly how you spend it.
Yeah, I think that principle is what even financial planners apply, because if you work for a financial planning advice, they will give you a booklet. It's very huge. Yeah. And I refuse these days to complete it because they ask you how much petrol you put, how repair, insurance, this, that. Now, sometimes you forget how many times did I fill the car with petrol last week or this month. So anyway, it's a good practice if you can do it, but you can't.
That's why you don't feel it at the end of the month. You feel it daily. So when you fill petrol, if it is in the car, if I fill petrol $10, it's a 1 minute thing. You get in the car, you got the book with you, $10, $20 petrol.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is this thing is very good, but it may not work with many people because we find we have got unplanned things happening every day.
Yes.
You get a call from home. Yes. I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine, Ghanaian. They have got a financial planner. They went there, they found, this $100. Where did you get where did you send this $100? I said to my mom, I said, we didn't plan it. I said, how come? I mean, do I have to send the money to my mother who is
But when we come to eventually, once you have done that, we come to budgeting. Okay? Now, in budgeting, you can put at the end there, miscellaneous. Yes, $100, which means that is there for emergencies or for whatever it is, something that you're not planning there. But it's there. It's a habit that must be developed. If we really are to be in a place where we're not struggling. It's a habit. Nothing more than that. It's hard, but it's a habit that can be developed. And the people who have less financial stress, actually, they've developed some kind of a budget. Some kind of a budget. It doesn't mean that you can't blow it. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that you can't have emergencies, which will throw the whole budget out of the water. But at least you're understanding that there's a basic need to understand at least where money is going in. Because otherwise, this here will always exceed income. Especially for us Africans, because as you said, I got my wife, she's got her family, I got my family, and sometimes we have to fight where do we send money this week. Where do we have to send money this week? And sometimes it's as if they know, they call at the same time. You know? Our parents call, my parents call at the same time, and we don't have money. So when do we send? This week. Finally, we decided that phone calls that come at midnight, we don't answer them. Because we know they're asking for money. You know? But eventually we just said, okay, we're just going to have a budget. You know? We're not sending more than $300 to this fortnight to your parent, this following fortnight to your parent. It's simple then. If they run out of money before then, we don't answer their phone.
But that's what you've got to do, is to teach them to budget as well.
Yeah, teach them to budget.
If we were the same, and it'd be just a phone call and send the money, and I went. And then I just said, right, well, what we will do is, on the 10th of every month, we'll send you this amount, and that's it. You run out, you run out, you've got to wait till the 10th of the other month.
Exactly. Exactly. Wait until the 10th of May. Otherwise, they think the money just comes out.
Exactly.
You got money here because you are in Europe.
That's right.
Or whatever. It's not Europe, anyway, it's Australia, because they think you got money. But it's not true. We are struggling here just as much as everybody else. You know, we've got to work 5 jobs. You know, sometimes we've got to be on the center. Imagine $400 you have to split, pay your rent, pay your electricity, go have a beer, and then send home. I mean, there's definitely going to be a fight in the house.
You're going to have to give up that beer.
All right, okay, I'm doing wine. Okay. So, but I understand what you're saying. It's a difficult thing, but that's why we need to learn this. It's a daily habit that we need to learn, and we need to teach our people. Because now things like cash converters, payday loans, you know, they charge you so much interest, it's ridiculous.
48%. 48%.
48%.
Wow.
Yes.
And 48% over a 2-week period. Now, if you analyze that, it's about over 1,000% interest. Because it's just ridiculous. And the reason is simply this. It's simply this. Expenses more than income. Expenses more than income. I remember about maybe 15 years ago, I went to cash converters, and I said I'll never ever again do that. I said I'll never ever again go to cash converters. And I've been fortunate, I've never gone back there. Because they just, I said, how do you do that? But I was in dire need at that time. I had no recourse. I had no recourse.
Are there hidden costs as well that they don't tell you?
They don't tell you. They don't tell you. Actually, they tell you the interest. They don't tell you the interest is 48%. They're not allowed to. So they tell you the interest is like 4%, 5%, but the fees are like $50.
I think we look at it as something to tell you, because have you seen the credit cards when you get statements? It's there, 22%.
Yeah.
22%. They tell you if you've got $100, and you pay the minimum, you pay so much time, and you pay so much. They're supposed to tell you.
They're supposed to tell you, but they're cool.
Actually, it's only in the last financial year that the interest rates that are charged by cash converters has been cut. Previously, it was a free for all. They could charge as much as they wanted, and now the state government has come in to say it's capped at 48%, and that is it.
Yeah, but they charge you in fees.
Yes.
They don't call it interest, they call it fees.
What happens with cash converters is that they know you're going to default. And the moment you default, that is now when they catch you. Because there is fees on top of fees, because you are late even by a day or a few hours. Yes. That is where they catch you. And they legally...
Yeah. But husbands need to just understand that your wife is a lady and she does need to look nice. So, no... allow me to laugh. Yeah. So, if she... plus, you have to understand that she's an adult, she's a mature person, and she needs to have a little bit of spending money for herself, which you should close your eyes to. Yeah. Whether it doesn't matter whether it's $20 or $30 per week, there should be money that is for her to do as she pleases, where she doesn't have to answer to you. Okay. You know, and a little bit of money to buy herself some cream, a little bit of lippy if she needs some lipstick, to do her hair. If you want happiness in your home, it's a choice. And to put all of that in the budget. Okay, the hairstyle, there are different grades. She has to do the hair, but you have to tell her, for our level, you can't spend more than this amount. So maybe she has to arrange with a friend, she can buy the product, the friend can do it, she can help the friend, but she needs to have some money to do her hair. She doesn't want to go around looking like a mad woman.
Okay, I guess we can now see how priorities come about, and I think it takes us back to what Mwakadunga was explaining, that you need to sit together and work through this. So you have a personal budget, and your wife has a budget as well, and then you combine that into the household budget and agree what is it that we must spend our money on. I'm sure a buffet doesn't mean that she'll go and spend on expensive cosmetics when there is no food at home. I mean, we are being realistic here.
This is the problems where most of African people now, they have 2 bank accounts in their house, because the woman needs their own account and then the men need their own account.
That's a good point.
That is the big problems where we will not combine our budget together because of touch of this like cosmetic or something which unplanned. So it's very hard for us as a man to control everything, because there is a freedom in this country where you will not control your wife or you control your budget. So that is the problem where it's very hard to manage that thing.
Yeah, but it's about working together.
Why do you have to use that word control?
I think control means like no budgeting.
Yeah, but why can't she do that?
The important point here
Why
is
can't she
that
do that?
the roles when we are in this country, where we've come from, the roles have changed.
Yeah.
And therefore now, you're actually in partnership, not one
Exactly.
one party is above the other.
No.
And with financial issues, the moment one party tries to be in charge, then that's where conflict arises. Because you fail to realize what the needs are, which you first of all must meet. And that's why we are talking about
Unless there's complete trust.
Mm-hmm.
Then my husband couldn't tell you how much money's in the bank. He has no idea. He has no idea what bills are paid.
So
He has no idea how much money. I'm in charge. I do the banking, I do the insurance, I do everything. He has no, I couldn't tell him. He couldn't tell me how much money's in the bank. He has no idea. He has no concern either. He doesn't care. As long as the bills are paid, food on the table, he's fine with that.
And he's making good
So
money.
unless
He's making good money. No problems. There's no
you're
issue.
managing the money.
I'm managing the money. But he's got to trust in me that I manage it right, and I've got to trust in him that he trusts me to spend it on wherever I want it. He doesn't ask where you spend it, what you do, nothing. House looks nice and everything's fine. But if you don't have that trust, it doesn't matter you're a millionaire or not a millionaire, it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. You've got to have that trust.
The point is not the trust. The point is, there is different access between we came from background. The point is, sometimes the women cannot understand what's going on. Like budgeting, she does not understand it. When they get the money, she can buy what they want.
This is why we are here.
That's why you've got to educate.
So that we can educate them.
When you tell her this one is not important, it's not, you can leave it for next fortnight, she will leave it.
Now, I think
She will say this. Sometimes they use the word, this is my kids. You see? This is my money kids. People who are on Yeah, they use this word sometimes, which is it's not good.
No.
They say, this is my kid, this is my money kid, I can do what I want.
just to let you know, when we talk about Centrelink, Centrelink was actually given some money previously by the former government to educate people about money management.
Yeah.
That money was actually never used, simply because Centrelink is used to being asked about how can I get money, not how I can use it. They were never able to deliver that program, and the money was actually returned to the treasury. I think it was about 200 million. You can imagine. And that money would have been very helpful because you are educating or empowering people to learn more about how to use their money. Not just about how to go and apply for which category of payments that you are entitled to. Okay? But coming back to us now, let us start with the basics. What are the basics that we must factor in our budget?
I think just a bit. Sorry, I think there's very serious issues here.
Fundamental issues?
Yes, because if there are communities that women, the spouses, go to Centrelink. They're giving money and say, this is your money. Yep. And the husband is getting money from work. He's saying, this is my money. And the Centrelink does not want to educate the people there. I think they're big, big issues. I don't know how we as a community can get back to Centrelink and tell them, look, we're creating problems in the community.
I guess
because these people are giving them money, they can't budget.
This is a process, and I hope that we can now take feedback and say, look, the community actually needs more education about some of the issues pertaining to money management. That money was actually allocated specifically to educate people about money. And it's not only us here who have issues, even other communities. I can share you the experiences I've had through the low-interest loans. When you come in, this is one of the things that we require you to provide a personal budget.
The thing is, the big problem is not the Centrelink. The big problem is the policy, which is we're getting here because we don't have that policy at home. But when you come here, there's some policy which is not equipped with our life. So when we go to that deeply, while we didn't start it from the beginning, it is very challenging for us. And that's why a lot of women, they don't trust their husband. If you say, okay, this is our money now, this is the money we have, so let's do this one, and then later on, that will get a big problem, will get big problems, and then the police will involve in, and the police doesn't understand what is going on there. So later it will take you and put you somewhere, or will take the woman and take women somewhere. So that is not a budgeting problem.
It's not a budgeting
the policy.
That's a fundamental issue. So perhaps let's focus on this,
Yeah.
And maybe those are now outlying issues that are coming out of this.
Even these people, they can't budget. They can't do the budget because each one is budgeting them by themselves. The woman is budgeting for herself, the husband is trying to budget for herself.
So how do we address that?
Eh?
How do we address that?
For me, it's a policy problem.
So,
that's not going to help us.
Now, we need to be realistic about what we can achieve here. Because let's remember, we're also living in a different environment. We have come to this country, we have to comply with the rules and regulations that exist here. We can't bring the way we lived in Africa to impose it in this country. That's a reality we have to live with. And that's why programs like these are very useful. We know they are generic. And that's why I mentioned in the beginning that if you look at there is a budget plan on that website. It does not mention anywhere that you send money abroad to your family. It doesn't even mention that you're able to lend your friend if he's in need. Does it? No. They're not used to it. For them, it's a credit card, and you deal with the bank.
The whole family is here. Like if your mom, your granny is here, there's no way to send the money.
Then you're lucky.
But I think with us, I may be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we Africans, I think we are very proud people. Like if a relative contacts us to ask for money, I think our pride comes in and we are not able to say, sorry, I don't have. We want to please those people because we want them to think that we're successful here. Even to the point where with some people, their children don't have pajamas to keep warm and go to bed at night, but they will send money, $100, even $200, they send to somebody back home. Now, we shouldn't forget, back home, it's easier to survive back home than here. Here, if you lack, it's your problem. Back home, if they don't have money, they can always go to a neighbor or to a relative to ask for money. They will not die. So I think at the end of the day, we have to prioritize where the money should go. Also, secondly, I think we take on this Western lifestyle too much, to the point where we are not cooking. People are not cooking in their homes. I see, children eating hot chips. Those things are very expensive and they are not healthy. And some of our children are getting obese in the African community because of these things. And this is where the fathers to come in. Back home, generally speaking, the men don't cook. You can set a good example by cooking food and you save money. So when we're talking of priorities and we say, okay, food is important, we need to say, okay, what kind of food? Is it takeaway? It has to be cooked food. But the men too have to get involved. It's not just to say this is where the money should go, but you have to do practical things too to save money. It doesn't. There's nothing wrong in the husband cooking some of the meals.
I think what is emerging here is that there are fundamental issues that need to be addressed. First and foremost, within our own families, within our communities. And then we can sit down now and work out what we call a household budget. Because if you don't agree on certain fundamentals, then these costs are going to suffer. And who will be to blame? You start being followed by debt collectors if you don't meet your obligation. If you send your money abroad to your family and you're not meeting your obligations here, what happens? Yeah, I think the dynamics differ from family to family. There are also women who can be spendthrift. Let's be honest.
Very much.
And they've actually driven their husbands into real debt. And that has caused a lot of problems in those families. So it's a question of who is a better manager, who is a better money manager.
Yeah.
And whoever is better than the other should actually sit down and educate their partner. I think it's a partnership. It's a work in progress. Sometimes the men can be good, sometimes the woman can be better. So things change and dynamics do change for some reasons. Because we are living in a very dynamic world. And we go out there, we are here today, we are learning. Maybe if your wife was a better manager, you may be a better manager after this. Who knows? We are just seeing the involvement of the systems that we are in. There's a lot of exposure, and it all depends on how we are able to access that information and apply it to our specific cases. So we are not here saying, oh, because Yasmin is a better manager, then all women are going to manage the money. You know, it's different. But I think let's be realistic. Budgets, very important. Whether you're a good manager or a bad manager, we have to budget. Because
I'm going back to our country, really. Women are those who do the shopping, actually.
Yeah.
Not the men. So, of course, there will be a few exceptions. Some women might be, they don't know really how to budget. There will be problems. But as you say, the general rule, women are extra careful than men in terms of what priorities they spend the money, actually.
Now, actually, in terms of what Ali suggested about having a pilot program with a particular community, how about if we get women involved? Like, once again, it's a cultural thing. When we have programs like this, it's always the men who turn up. And half of the time, they spend it saying women don't do it, we have this problem because of the women. We have this, not only this context, I've been to other forums too, where the men keep on saying the women are the problem. They are not the problem. Okay, but the women never come along, it's always the men. The women stay home to look after the children, they are the ones who come. Okay, the very people whom we think are the problem, and for me, I have tried to be a voice for the women. When I was talking of cosmetics, I'm not saying that the woman should take a big chunk of the money and go and buy expensive cosmetics and do expensive hairdo, no. But I'm just being realistic that a woman is a woman, just like a man is a man. And there are some things that a woman needs. So how about if we, tailor this training, create an opportunity for the women to actually have access to this, where the men can stay home and look after the babies and let the women come, and because they are very important. And with these problems that are happening in the community, because of these problems, some of the African children are now in the child protection system because of these same sort of things. Yeah. So how about if we provide some training for the women, and then we hear things from the women's perspective. Things that the men think the women are creating problem, from the woman's point of view, she doesn't see herself as a problem. She sees the man as a problem. Probably sees the man as a control freak who won't let her have any financial independence, and that is, part of the problem.
Can I say this in answer to what you've said, Epiphany? I think that's a very good and valid point. However, whenever we design these programs, we do as much as possible try to have a gender balance. And to be honest with you, we don't get very much response from the women. There will be leaders within their community. But to come up and say, yes, I'm going to be part of it. I met Yasmin on Sunday, and that's when I told her about this. She's taken a step of faith and she's here. Because she sees the value in this program. I met these two gentlemen on Monday night. Told them about this program, and they are here because they can see value. So sometimes we do our...
And we've sent out invitation to women who were supposed to be here today, they're not here. They didn't turn up.
Probably choosing the good time for women.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. So
well,
but
this is the beginning. These are lessons to be learned.
Yeah.
And we felt that sometimes even putting a program on a Saturday, that's exactly now when women are very busy with their children, families, taking them for sport and community activities.
Yeah.
So we thought, starting on a weekday like today, and develop and see which is the most appropriate time as we go along. There will never be a perfect one, we agree. But we do endeavor as much as possible, as Molly has said, to have a gender balance so that we can have both views. We also don't want a situation where women come here and the whole evening then it will be about their men. Yeah. It should be about pertinent issues like this. We also don't want a situation where men come and it's about women. So when there is a balance, I think it's better so that we learn together. We are picking out a lot from you, and they're also picking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Both gender being together, you learn a lot much quicker.
Yeah.
Because we're actually I'm going home to my wife. So if I hear what I'm hearing from the ladies, at least I'm picking points.
It makes sense.
Of course. You're also hearing from her. So when you go back, there's something that you picked up. And you can approach it in a better way. So I think I would suggest that let us learn together, because sometimes when you categorize gender, then there's a lot of, there's room for bias. But as I say, this is a pilot, and let us see how these resources are free and they're available. Unfortunately, we don't get to know about this.
See, the problem, Dr. Gitu, is that these resources are valuable for those who are willing to change their mentality. Because I don't know whether you were there, 2007. 2007, when Kelly Riley was campaigning for the first time, we met with him somewhere in Manali.
Yeah, I was there. I was the first. I was there.
Yeah, and then the gentleman stood up, if you remember. He said, Mr. Ad, if I elect you, how are you going to help me? When I come from Africa, I get here. From Africa, my kids respect me. My wife respects me. When we get here, my wife doesn't respect me. My kid does. That's the same thing we are going, because those people still having that mentality from back home. Here, they want to be respected. They want their wife to be submissive to them. The kids, the same thing. And actually, this afternoon I was writing an application to work with an unaccompanied minor. They are talking about the same things.
Unaccompanied?
Unaccompanied minor. It's the same thing. What are the problems facing kids here? Our kids, when they come here, because they come from different culture, they change, or they don't integrate, they become, and then family disintegrate, they go into foster care, all these things. So there is a lot of things here which are not going properly, and probably this program will never work because of this other nature within the men. So, as we said, this is, you call a community leaders to come and to be trained, to go and train. But when we live here, we don't go and tell even our wives. We stay in the house. Where have you been? Like I've been to the boys' club. So because I went there was a training of this.
How do you overcome that, Mr. Sababu? How do you overcome what you have just said? That we move from here with this knowledge, this information, which we all agree is very valuable, isn't it? Yeah. How do we then take it back to not just our wives, but our community? Because your wife is part of your community. Yeah. How do we take it back there? Because you will be the first person to be called as the president of Tanzanian Association when there's a financial issue, isn't it?
Yes.
And if you dig deeper, you may find that if that family had been empowered, perhaps the circumstances would be different, or the outcome would have been different. With basic financial knowledge, empowering the community could help us as community leaders.
Yeah, but sometimes, from what I'm understanding, I don't know that it's just financial literacy is an issue. I think there's relationship issues, there's assimilation issues, there's integration issues, cultural issues. So the fact that this other thing is happening, if they haven't got their foundations right, it doesn't matter how financially literate you are, you're still going to have those problems, and it's all going to crumble down. So the communities have got to get their stuff together and make sure that this is rock solid, so that whatever they build on top of that then is going to be solid as well. And it looks to me that that's not rock solid.
I agree.
And that there is lots of adjustment still going on in those communities, that, you know, families are breaking down, society is breaking down, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I quite buy with what you say, but if one of the fundamental issues that causing, you know, assimilation, integration is this is where we are here to see how can we address it.
That's only one.
Yes.
But if you're saying that your son is not respecting you and your wife is not respecting you, it doesn't matter how much money you're making. That's respect is still not going to. You can't buy that.
Yeah.
So I wonder whether they haven't got their family relationships right and adjusting together, and then they can then benefit from all these other education tools out there.
And the whole purpose of this also is, you know, communities like yours have been here much longer.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you've gone through all these issues.
What communities, sir?
Well, my personal community, I mean, I'm born here, so, you know, I'm Aussie, so. Pakistani Indian is that side, and then the Muslim community as a whole.
Yes.
But the Muslim community is so diverse. I mean, there's Africans and Indonesians and Bosnians and all sorts. So I can't even say Muslim community because it's not one thing. But certainly, my own personal heritage is Pakistani. So.
And I think, you know, sitting in a forum like this is very useful because we're able to learn from each other.
Absolutely.
You know, opportunities like this don't come in every other time. And therefore, we pick from the best of yours, we pick from the best of the other communities, and then we take it back to our community and see how best to address it.
And men, there's nothing worse for men than to feel disrespected. You know, for women, it's very important to feel loved, but for men, it's very important to feel respected. There are two different sides of the questions, you know. And when a woman wants something and you can't have it, she feels that you don't love her. And when she does it anyway, you feel that you're not respected. Okay, so that's the crux of the matter. So, however, sometimes you need to take issues by the bull. You know, there's a saying in Australia: take the issue by the bull of the horn. You know, and financially, we need to grasp this. We need to one way or the other, need to sit down with our partners. And if you don't have a partner, you still need to do this on your own. Because it's not just women who cause trouble. You can be on your own. You can be a single man and still make a mess of this. Or a single woman and still make a mess of this. So it's not just couples that have issues with financial management. You know? Even single people fall into debt. Serious debt sometimes. So we've looked at money coming in from all sources, whether it's Centrelink, whether it's work, whether it's casual work, whether it's doing hair on the weekend. You know, women do hair and get $200, I think it's my money. No, you didn't work. It's family. Okay? Unless you agree that, okay, that's your money. If you agree, that's fine. But if you don't, it's money coming in from any source. It's money coming in. So you do that, and then you look at from your tracking, you know how much you spend. Now we need to prioritize. Okay? Prioritize. So we know money coming in from all sources, let's say 1,800. We need to prioritize. Now there are certain things which are basic. So we need to get those covered. Can we name a few? What do you think is basic? Shelter. Okay. So? Rent. Or mortgage.
Bills.
Okay. So that's the basic need.
Food.
Food is the basic need. Transport. Basic need.
Utilities.
Utilities is power.
Education, textbooks, and stuff for the kids' education.
Education.
Clothing.
Clothing. Is it a basic need or a one? Do we need to include that in our weekly budget?
No.
No. That has been planned for.
Yeah, it's a basic need. You need clothes. You might not need clothes every week.
Yeah. But when we are doing budgeting, we get paid fortnightly, let's say.
Yeah.
So are we going to put money aside every week for clothes?
It should, if it is a real budgeting need.
Okay. But we can put it in the wants.
No.
No.
Is it a basic need?
It is, but you need clothes and shoes.
Because it is well.
All right. Okay.
It's not for every so much, it accumulates.
You can buy clothes every fortnight.
Yes.
Okay.
No, you don't have to buy it every fortnight.
Yeah.
You need to budget for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, putting something aside, like for school uniforms, shoes.
Okay. All right. So clothing. What else is the basic need?
Health.
Health. Okay. Health. Medical. What else is the basic need?
That's already a long list.
Travel.
Holiday.
No, this was.
Transport.
Transport to and from work, we put it there as a basic
After
need.
school.
Okay.
Going to Africa, I mean.
Oh,
no, that's a want.
That's a want. So once we got okay, holiday.
Yeah.
Need is savings for needs.
Savings for needs.
Absolutely.
Should I put it at number one?
Oh, yeah, well, you can do. Some people do put it first.
Okay.
You pay yourself first.
Okay. And what else in the wants?
Entertainment.
Entertainment.
Haircut.
Haircut. Is
Is
beer a need or a want?
the reason-
Basic or need?
Entertainment.
Eh?
Yeah,
It's debatable.
Entertainment is also.
milk out.
Eating out.
Cosmetics. Eating out. Takeaways.
Remittance.
Yeah.
Sport and recreation.
Yes, sport.
Let's move to parent entertainment. Okay.
Insurance is the other need.
Yes.
What about the sport?
Insurance.
Yeah.
What kind of insurance?
Life and
House and car.
Why is life insurance a need?
No, that's not.
Health cover.
Hmm?
Health cover is.
We talked about health here.
yeah.
I don't think that's a need,
What
though.
about the sport? The sport.
Hmm?
We didn't put the sport there.
Sport.
Sport is a want.
So, okay.
Dentist is okay.
Here we got radio, car radio. Car radio insurance, car insurance, life insurance.
To prevent.
Car services.
What about
Sending money home.
house insurance? They know how.
Sending money home, is it a basic need or basic or one?
Not a basic need. It's a want.
Is a need.
Okay. If your parents are dependent on you, then it's a need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to feed your kids first before you feed your parents.
Yeah, but you can include it
But
as
they
part of
claim
the
that they
basic
have
need.
fed you and now you are capable of
Yeah.
doing something and you want to dump them.
Yeah. Because it could be, they could be dependent on you
Yeah.
totally. They are,
Mm.
For example,
But
on my personal,
Mm.
when my mother was sick, that was definitely a need. I had to send money every week
Mm.
for treatment.
Mm.
I didn't care about kids here.
oh, that's wrong.
You know, okay, that could be wrong, but that was my judgment call.
Yeah.
And my wife, I was lucky enough, my wife supported me in that. You know,
That is
supported me.
debatable then.
But it was a judgment call at the time, you know. But I talked with my wife and she understood and she said, yeah, definitely. So we had to cut somewhere else. You know? It became a need. So some things I want, but eventually they can become a need.
So there are things which are in a gray area.
Yeah, there are things which are in
where
gray
you
area,
cannot
definitely.
judge when they are needs or wants.
Yeah, there are people who will definitely refuse to put that in a want.
Yeah.
For them it's a basic need. They need to have
Yeah.
beer, you know,
Yeah.
because of their work. They say, man, I work,
Mm.
you know, I'm tired, I need to have beer in my life.
Yeah.
And when I get home, I want to have a beer. So for them, you cannot tell them it's a one. They will refuse. So it's a great.
But you put that in the food budget then?
Yeah, we could put it in the food budget. But the whole idea of identifying this is to prioritize. This allows you to prioritize. The smoke. Okay, for some people it's a need, for some people it's a want. Depends where you where you are. Okay. But once you have identified these things, home support. But once you have talked with your partner, if you're by yourself, it's easy to decide. But once you have talked with your partner and you identify that this is okay, now how much money are we going to put where? This is all we have coming in. Okay?
In a fortnight.
Yeah, in a fortnight. This is all we have, nothing else. And we need to cover, to allocate this money, everything here. That's why I say this is very important to do this before the money comes in. Before the money comes in. If the pay is next week, do this week. So you identify, so when the money comes in, there are certain things which you can put on automatic direct debit. If you can say, okay, for power is 40 a fortnight. For education is 50 a fortnight. For clothing is 20 a fortnight. For that, so you do that until either you have money left. Okay, either you can add all that up, come to 1,900, which means you have $100 deficit.
Can we allocate figures in all of this and see that 1,800 where it goes?
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that as an exercise.
Yeah.
Okay. We can do that. Let's assume a family of 3 kids in primary school. Yeah, family of 3 kids in primary school.
And
so
parents are working or not?
One parent is working, but it doesn't matter. The income is 1,800.
1,800.
Yeah, the income is 1,800. Whether they're working or not, the total income is 1,800. A fortnight.
A fortnight.
Fortnight.
Yeah, let's see that.
Okay.
The rent,
Okay. So rent.
They shouldn't be fighting. That's a bit of money.
Rent.
750.
Rent, the basic rent in a fortnight for that.
750.
Yeah, 750.
Yeah, 750.
750.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
For
Food.
fortnight.
400.
400.
Yeah, 400 for night.
750.
No.
Okay. Transport.
For both of them or for one?
For the household.
Because they are going to work together.
So either you got 2 cars, or you got 1 car, or you're using public transport. Doesn't matter.
Transport.
200.
Okay. 200 a fortnight.
You need to be careful here. There are very many parameters that people can use.
Yeah, here we just an exercise. We're just making an exercise. We want to know whether we're going to go above that or below that. Okay.
Now they take it.
Power. Remember, it's quarterly.
Yeah.
So we got how many fortnights? We got in a quarter. We got how many fortnights?
700 is days.
About
6 fortnights.
Make 30 a power, make 30.
Do they
30
have
for night, $30 will
solar
for night.
panels?
Eh?
Do they have solar panels?
$30 will for night.
40.
30, not
6
40.
fortnights.
40 fortnight?
No, 30.
30 times 6 is 180. I think power is much more than 180 a quarter now.
It's around
Yeah, it's
400, 500.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Power now is around 500.
So we are supposed to save $50 per fortnight.
Yes. No, a bit more than that.
Oh, yeah.
More than about 80. About $80 for power if you don't want to be.
Yeah.
So $80 here.
That's too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, 80 times 6 is 480 for 3 months of electricity. Electricity, I'm telling
Okay,
you,
100.
is much more than that.
I'll pay double that. Electricity. I'll pay
It's very
$75
expensive
a
now,
year.
electricity, trust me. Oh, I have to use my credit card and go into debt.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are not in trouble yet because we have $40.
We got to $40 yet. We got $40. So we are not in trouble yet.
Yeah.
The question was, where do we put the $40 here?
No, we are saved it.
No, we have saved here. It comes here. We got still $40.
Yeah, 40,
Okay?
Yeah.
20.
I tell you, for 10 years I didn't go on holidays because of this issue. For 10 years, I couldn't afford a holiday because I didn't have money left to do this. Okay? Now, some people go on holidays, they want a credit card. They go on holidays. And then they come back, they're going to suffer here. The average debt in Australia, I think, is about $85,000. $85,000 people average debt per household.
But that includes mortgage.
That includes mortgage, average.
So that is about 12 ones. If we divide that 40 by 12, it gives us
$4.
Less.
Yeah?
$3.
About $3.
$3. We can divide them $3 each. And forget about...
But what most people do, because they don't have a budget, so they will take money here, education, and go and buy a carton of beer. And then school excursion comes, they don't have money for that. And kids don't go on excursion. You know? Because they spend that money here. Or they spend that money for radio, they spend it on takeaways. So when the time for radio comes, they don't have $500. Okay? So this clearly shows you, by just going through this exercise, it just tells you where do we stand. It's a reality check. It's not a judgment on you or anything, just a reality check. That this way how it is. So what do we do from here? Only two things. Either increase your income or cut down here.
Send the kids back home.
Whatever.
If you send them home, the ticket is about $2,000 or so. If you have three, you need $6,000. You cannot.
So I hope that at least will be helpful this evening. We can go back to our communities and say, look, we believe we have resources that we can assist you with in terms of knowledge, financial knowledge. As we've had this evening, there are diverse ways of managing money. It all depends on you as an individual. We all travel our journeys differently. You could save, another person can't. And they have good reasons because of different lifestyles. So it's not a one-size-fits-all, but it's a guide. And what is more important is trying to ensure that we develop resources that are culturally appropriate. Because this is generic. Whenever they design this, in fact, it's just come up in the last 2 years. There was nothing before. And that's why you find people coming in to settle in this country, they've not had any exposure to banking products. And what happens? You're taken to the bank, as soon as you arrive, and you're given a card that's settling. Where do you get the money?
From the wall.
From the wall. Someone has never used it before. It's just mind-boggling, even for those who come from big cities. It's not easy. And the wording, the financial language, the language that they use in the financial world is not the everyday language that we use. So you need to understand what those words or what they imply when they are used. Because bankers have a way of communicating. And remember, the products are evolving every now and then. Today there's a product being launched, 6 months down the line, it's gone. So you need to keep in touch. And that's why, as leaders, we need to ensure that you are empowered so that you can pass on that information. So tonight, I think, it's just been an overview of the 4 areas that we've looked at. And this, we hope, is a beginning. If we can develop capacity within our communities, I'm sure that resources will be available to even go further. We haven't touched on areas like mortgages, superannuation, and that's also very important because that's where we are heading. What are the best products in the market? Insurance, we haven't looked at that as well. We just looked at personal financial money management. So there were forms that are on the tables. Please fill them in This will be very useful because that feedback will take it to the council and other stakeholders and see what support they can provide to us. And please feel free, now that we have established communication, feel free to always ask a question or seek advice. Money matters, nobody has a monopoly of knowledge. That's what I can say. And that's why banks are competing amongst each other every now and then. You know, they provide one product, whether it is NAB or Commonwealth Bank or ANZ, it's one product they are providing. They just tweak it to make it look different. Otherwise, it's the same. So, once again, I must say thank you very much. I know it's been a long evening, but I hope it has been productive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I'm also thankful for the CV. I have really been tired since morning. I was kind of questioning whether or not I should come because I was tired, but also I made a commitment that I should be here. I was to be here with the 3 more people. I'm sure that we could have added a number, but unfortunately we not been able to do that. But what I can take out of today is actually that we as humans are exposed to the world of consumerism. And the resources that we find ourselves having in our hands are very, very limited. And we need to make sure that we do proper choices and priorities so that we don't fall into a lot of trouble. And if we can do that individually, we can do it collectively, we can be a strong community, I believe. Yeah. So I hope that this is a good beginning. And also I hope that as an agency, it should grow bigger than what we are now, to incorporate other areas of our needs into that as well, so that we can be more stronger, especially as a new people. And we can learn from the other communities that have been here before us. And it's good for you to be here also, because we can learn from the experience, because it started off almost the same as it is with us, but we are only the new people here. And also, I think the comments that you make, we are going to take them home. And for me, I gain personally, but also I share also with the people that I work with. So this is a blessing for me.
Can I ask who feels comfortable enough to take this to the community? Okay, that's fantastic.
But I'm too busy, I can't do anything, but I will share with people.
Okay.
Maybe I can even organize a workshop like this.
Yes.
Of leaders, so that you can deliver to more people, so that you can spread more. Yeah.
Yeah, but because we realize that communities have very specific needs,
yes,
that's why we would like to ensure that we empower community leaders so that they in turn, with our support, we'll be there. We'll be there for them. With our support, then we can come in and take them, assist them, go through all what we've been talking about with your community. Because sometimes when you have your own community, you can, as a community leader, we understand, you can be dragged, inwards, looking at issues that affect you, the divisions that are there. But if you have someone from outside, chipping in, then at least you can be able to keep on track. So what Modi is asking is, or what we are actually asking you is, take a step of faith and say, tomorrow I'm going to bring my community on board and I want to train them. Because at least now you feel that you have the necessary knowledge to be able to train them.
And if you think this knowledge is important for your community to know, to access, I'll take this to this community. I think they need to hear what we had here today. Just about these 4 modules, tracking your spending, money in, money out, prioritize your spending, and it's a simple concept, but I think it's an important one.
Yes.
I think it's good to get together today, and the more important thing is we hope that if this program is running for longer, and then the community leader do understand really not only the basics, and go back to their community and train them in their language, because sometimes people they don't understand English.
Yes.
But it's good to train the leaders in a few times and then understand really what is all the budget about, and then go in their community and try to explain it in their own language. So there will be a better understanding.
And that was the reason, part of the criteria for selecting those who are here was that they could actually speak more than one language, which is English, so that they can then go back and deliver that in a language that is well understood by the community. That is perfect, and that's what we want. So if you are willing to, please get in touch. If you are confident that you deliver to your community, that is exactly what, that is the outcome that we would like to see.
And we can help you even organize that. You can help with the flyers, marketing, venue, and things like that. Coffee, tea. So just, you know.
Yeah, I think it is good because we as a leader we learn many things now, if we don't know before. And then for us, we have meeting every fortnight in our community. And then we have a lot of people there. They came from background, they came from Africa, they are new here. They don't know even budgeting, they don't know even think this way. There's a lot of problem in the community. Because when you say to them, don't do this, if we take it the wrong way, we say because you know me, because you do this, you know, sometimes it's very hard. But we hope next time if there is any workshop like this or seminar like this, it is good when we bring more women, because women need to understand exactly what is going on through another person. Because like us now, when we call them, then we tell them, sometimes they cannot understand us because they will say, oh, because you know me, because I do this, because I buy this, because you say this, you know, sometimes very hard. But if somebody comes from outside, should be very interested. Then they will say, oh, really, it's true. You see? Then we hope next time if there is someone free, we have big hall there, then we can contact you, then one will come, then give them brief, even half an hour to them, then they can understand what's going on.
But more importantly, we can come and brief them, but you take over from there. Now you have the power.
It's true.
You have the knowledge. We would actually want you now to take the mantle, but you have actually been trained, and now you have the capacity to train your community. You see, that is empowerment.
But there's this preconception that if he does it, people in the community, they think, you're talking about me because you saw me buying a big car or something.
In some cases, you know, white people, they are good at trying to, some of
But you see, these are the nuances that we need to overcome. These are the cultural issues. Yeah, these are cultural issues.
That's the same in every culture.
Yes,
Ours is the same.
Yeah.
It's easier for a white man to come into our community and say something than it is for our own people to say. Oh, brother, you didn't do this. Oh, sister,
I'll bring your sleep.
Fine.
What I'm going to add on that one,
yeah.
Last 3 weeks, I met with someone from Sherwood College, and he told me to provide some courses in our community.
Some
courses from
yeah.
Certificate 3 to Certificate 2. So we talk about it and then explain everything, because nowadays, even cleaning, it needs certificate. So most of men, they do have certificate qualifications anyway, but most of women, they don't have it. So I went to my community, explained it to them, and some, they don't believe it, that what I'm going is true. Okay?
Because it's
so,
you.
Yeah, what I did is, I invite that person to come and tell them. So during the meeting, the community meeting, I say, look, 1 o'clock we start meeting, so I want you to come there and explain it to them. But I'm there. I will take it up to you. So she come and explain everything. After all, they do understand and they enroll in the things. But before, nobody enrolled because
it was from you.
Well, can I also say this?
Akobo, if you told me something much probably I wouldn't enroll either.
Can I also say this? You know, sometimes it's also good to capitalize on what comes your way. These two gentlemen were here at 4:45.
Wow, very good.
And I think that was extremely commendable because they say to me, whenever we go somewhere, we always like to get there half an hour before time. So they were here at 4:45, and actually they were the last people to be invited to this workshop. So you can see there is a real need in their community, and therefore, when you call us, I think everybody has heard you, will come and support you.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. Because if people can listen to us in your presence, fair enough.
I doubt the point that you say you need to share in your household, because people's attitudes, it depends on the time of the day, and sometimes people tend to start a topic at the wrong time. And then if you are bringing even a beautiful topic at the wrong time, things go wrong. So it would be encourageable for people who are specifically trained to maneuver through, this, to train. I support the idea of women being involved, really, because it's very important. It can help change the culture, and also, focus on goals. Joint goals instead of individual. So I hope that you will be added to be more people so that we cover the community. And also we even need to go beyond this budgeting. After that we need to see what other priorities does community have, especially in terms of money, investments and things like that. Because these budgets are very simple.
That's right.
We don't need to dwell on that, but we need to look at the bigger things that we can do to get that.
Well, a long journey starts with one step, baby steps, so at least I hope today we have started something, and we can now develop it from there. Let's spread the word out there, there is this program, and let's get as many people as possible on board, so that it becomes now a mind, it's a cultural thing, and we change the community in terms of where they approach their issues.
So next time we call you, when you say, guys, bring community leaders, make sure you pass the word in the community. Say, guys, there's this thing, come on. Because if we just ring from me and him, we just ring, we just get...
We need more.
We need more people. We need you guys to...
And we want more gender. We want more women, that's for sure.
Today we have seen you attending the ASCOF training. So what were your expectations before the training?
Well, my expectation for this money skills training was to understand how to budget, to budget that income comes in, and so that at the end of the day you know how much you are spending, how much money is remaining, if there is any money remaining. This is, I think, a really important training for me personally and for the community.
How do you think that this training will help your community?
This training of money skills will help individual communities members by being able to budget the money that comes into the household, so that they can be able to pay their bills, to pay for basic expenses like food and other things, and see if there's any money remaining to be able to budget for the future.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, madam. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Madam, we have seen you among the participants at this training organized by ASCOF.
Yes.
How do you think the finances could be managed in the house?
Budgeting, through budgeting and tracking expenditure to see that one is adhering to the budget that one has made, and if one is not keeping to the budget, where you can track where your money is going, so you can make some positive changes to just have a bit of financial independence.
And what would you like ASCOF to do in future regarding financial management training?
In future, I would like to see more involvement of the women from the African community, although there were like 2 of us here tonight, but I would like to see more women involved.
Okay.
because I believe that the women play a significant role in their families and within the community, and if there's to be any positive change in financial management, I think the women will play a significant role in that, so it's good to get them on board.
Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Mheshimiwa, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you too?
Good. How was the training?
I think it went well.
Yep.
It was good. There was a lively exchange of ideas.
Yep.
It was not one way, which is I found that the participation rate was very high. So I think it went well, beyond our expectation. Well, we were really not sure, because we organized it as a training of trainers.
Yep.
So we thought maybe it would be a one-way pumping of information, but however what we got was even better than that, because we got a lot of feedback, a lot of participation, a lot of knowledge from the participants, which was very encouraging.
So how do you think this may help communities, especially living in Queensland or in Australian life?
Well, I think it will help, first of all, by understanding really the concept of money. Coming from most of the communities that we attended today, I come from Africa, and in Africa really the concept of budgeting is not really there, because people buy, it's a day-to-day thing. You know, people don't have fridges to buy food for a whole week. People don't have bills, quarterly bills. So this will help people actually plan, know that they are operating in a different environment. They need to budget their money. Money is not on a daily basis, it's on either weekly or monthly or quarterly. So this will open, we hope, the minds of people, learn more how to fit there, and therefore fall less into crisis mode, you know, because of lack of budgeting. So that was the real aim of this.
And what do you plan the next one?
Well, we from the feedback that we got today, we're gonna go back and have a look at it. But the initial feeling that I have is that there'll be more community, bigger and larger groups than this. So we're gonna take this to the community, involve especially more women. There was not as many women as we expected today, but because of the time, so we're gonna go to the communities and actually do this with the trainers that we trained today. Go back to the communities with them and conduct this training with them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jim.
Today we have seen people attending this training. What was it about?
This was about financial literacy, empowering community leaders to enable them to respond to the needs of their community members on issues regarding financial management.
Why only financial management?
Because financial management has been identified as one of the critical issues that is affecting many of our community members, particularly those who are from a culturally and linguistically diverse background, who have migrated to Australia to make this a second home. The financial products on offer in this market are very complicated, and we at ASCOF felt that if there was a way we could disseminate the information that is available, that would really help not only the community leaders, but the community members and their families.
So, in organizing this training, what were your expectations?
We expected that we get the leaders in, and that was very successful. Over 12 of them attended the training, and those 12 came from different cultural backgrounds, and the issues that they raised are very pertinent, and what they have promised to take back to their communities is that they are going now to organize and train their community members on what they have learned, so that this program becomes sustainable.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you very much for you taking time to talk to me.